Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera. And oh boy, do things always ever go wrong. But today we have a fair bit of stuff to show off. So if we go back to our whales, which is what we were working on last time around, we have some new texturing. So the place looks pretty interesting.
Have a den of purring pride kittens.
I apparently have also received an emote for that. Thanks for that, Purra. Pride Heart Right. Oh, adorable. Hey, so yeah, I went through and I looked at so many different, like, depictions of what the inside of a whale looks like, from old cartoon movies for Pinocchio to Finding Nemo, and even some, like, diagrams of what the interior, like the stomach lining looks like, and the answer seems to be mostly it's rosy red. Rosy red and squiggly. So, looks a little bit like bacon in here, but I guess that's okay, because bacon comes from inside people anyways, right? But yeah. So we've also got these, which do still need some work. I think I might actually just make those the bone blocks and have those be placed appropriately. We'll have to see exactly how that turns out later, because that is not what we're working on today, though I think we are starting to shape up quite nicely here. If we switch to the moody lighting, then we should be able to see a little better. Yeah, looks a lot more like we're inside of something here, I think. The brightness really does kind of throw it off a fair bit, but, you know, that's fine. To each their own in that regard. Bacon is usually the outside of an animal. Depends on the animal, I think. Phew. So, water will be replaced with stomach acid, which is like acid that won't burn through, like, blocks and stuff. And then you'll walk into those portals and you'll go to where the whale is. And right now, of course, this particular stomach doesn't have a whale, so that's not going to happen if we do that. Got a texture for the muscle, which is mostly just a darker version of the, like, stomach lining texture. I think that's fairly decently appropriate. Everything is dripping. Currently I'm having everything drip water. I theoretically could have stuff like the muscle drip blood, but that might be incredibly traumatizing, so we're not gonna do that, ever. But, yeah, so we can sort of, in this image here, currently see all of the extant texturing for the inside of a whale. And our job today is to add structures. So, in the world of Minecraft, there are a variety of things called structures. They're like contained objects, essentially, that spawn. So the best example I can give of them is Nyar.
Oh, I found a pile of pride puppies.
No, thank you very much, Burra. So yeah, in the world, the best example of a structure is a witch hut, I think. Like, there's a lot of them, but the simplest example I can give is a witch hut. And a witch hut is a file. It's a specific structure that's been pre-constructed and it's just inserted into the world wherever it likes. And one of the quintessential experiences, I think, of going inside of a gigantic sea creature is finding flotsam and jetsam and all sorts of stuff. So, to that end, we are going to be trying to first just put some witch huts inside of our whales, and then we're going to actually start trying to make some specific structures and as such. And that'll also allow us to have things like castaway kobolds, who are kobold traders that you'll only find inside of, like, well, traders of various kinds, actually, that you'll only find inside of whales and as such, so you actually have a reason to explore the interiors and as such, as well as, obviously, just the treasure and as such. But yeah, so that's our job today, and we're going to be generating a lot of worlds because you can only actually do that at world gen, so a pre-existing world is not going to be, not going to work for that, but bleh. So, let's go to our chunk generator. So over here, build surfaces just generates the cube and the thing full of whale meat inside of it. That is all that happens. And like, if we just had the chunk generator here, the only thing that would happen is you get a whole ton of, you just get like a whole big chunk of whale meat. That's it. We then do our cave generation, and that actually provides the interior surface, the interior structures of our stomachs. That's the like actual caves that we're in, because it is mostly just a cave. And now we have the structure generators. Here we have the ambergris. Currently, that's the only thing, but it's going to be very much like that. And we need to add to that something new, which is, for the time being, just witch huts. So, structure generators. Yeah, hug plushie. This plushie? do we mean this plushie? Am I going to be turning other creatures' heads into diving helms? I mean, I haven't, like, there's a long cat. They're sat on the floor. Yes, they absolutely are, I can tell you. That's genuinely how tall they are from floor to the ground. But, I did also get this adorable friend today, so this is Tiny Plague Dr. Plushie. So, yeah. They're very, very, very soft. Ooh. But okay, right. They're just up to the side, you know, making sure I don't catch an illness. So, structure generators. We need to add whale ruins, I guess? Whale ships? Whale debris? Let's call that, I guess. New structure whale debris. Okay. And of course it helps if we actually create that. So let's see, structure, yeah. Structure whale debris. So currently it is just a clone of ambergris, which we don't want it to be, but momentarily we will actually do it. Now this just tells us if the chunk that it's in is actually inside of a whale stomach as opposed to in the lanes, I guess you'd call them. They're outside of them. So we like to keep our whale stomachs separate and individual as much as we can. Okay, so if we check the vanilla stuff, there is a bunch of fun stuff. So there's ocean monuments, there's never bridges, there's the abandoned mine shafts, that kind of thing. It's not quite what we're looking for here. So let's see, there's the strongholds. I know that there is one specifically for witch huts, but I cannot for the life remember what it is. Let's see, scattered features. There you are. Because that includes the swamp, and that allows us to grab ourselves the swamp hut. Okay, which is itself just a component. Which I think actually means there should be a thing for this. Oh yeah, no, there isn't even a structure file for this. They just build it every single time. Oh, that is horrifying. That is really horrifying. Oh. You do mean Long Long Yan now? Oh boy. Okay. This is awkward as hell. Come on. There. Hey. Okay, so yeah, looks like the witch hut actually tries to generate itself by just manually reconstructing it. Whereas what we want is to use an actual structure file. Okay. Now, fortunately, there is code for actually using that. So if we go to... Hey Misty, how you doing? Tile entity structure. Here we have our thing. It is going to do... Let's see, where are you? There's the mode, there's all the settings, there's the load, which I think is what we're looking for. Let's see where that gets called. Custom payload. Nope. There must logically be a point where this code is actually used, because otherwise there would be no point to even having this way. Like, we know there are structures that are actually generated. In fact, I might be able to find it on the Minecraft wiki what sort of structures there are. So let's see. Usage, obtaining, should be able to obtain those at all. Let's see if we can at least find a list of ones that are used. And from there, we should be able to actually find out. Well, if we can find an actual implementation of the use of structure blocks in vanilla, we can find a generator that actually uses them. So, yeah. That's what we're hoping for. Is Longcat more or less awkward than a fuzz galump? You know, it's been a while. It's been a while. Okay, so there's the fossils. There's the pieces of an end city. Which might... that might be it. Okay, so there's... city template, right? There's the generator. I don't see a reference here. We're just sort of looking for a point where they actually, like, call a structure. Structure and city pieces. Yep, it's just itself. Okay, right. Okay, so probably not that. The good news is we've definitely done this before, but I'm pretty sure I did it by just having the code for the witch hut, so yeah. Hey! Let's see, the jigsaw block is something else. I wonder, do we actually have structure fossils? Like, are fossils a thing that we actually made? Not seeing anything there. Also, apparently, witch is the only entities that are actually spawned from this. Let's see, map, gen. There's caves, NC, Neverbridge, mine shafts, ravine, strongholds, villages. You'd think villages would use. No? Really? Oh dear lord. Let's see. Templates. Not quite. So we got zombie villagers, villagers. No reference to the tile entity. No reference even to blocks. Oh, no, there you go. Okay. Oh, lordy. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's... Oh, this is why you use structure blocks, so that you don't have to... Oh. Oof. Yikes. Okay, let's go to blocks and see if there's actually anything in vanilla that places structure blocks. Okay, that's the only thing in World Gen that does. So if it's a structure block and the talent does not equal null, then set the mode to data, metadata. Is that seriously the only reference? Woof. Yeah, that ain't great. Interesting. Very interesting. You'd think there'd be more, but apparently not. Okay, how about Template Manager? What else references that? World Gen Structure, World Gen Feature, for fossils. Aha! We found them, everybody! Only took us like half an hour. Okay, World Gen Fossils. Hurrah. Now, obviously we need a structure generator, but that should be fine. Don't need to worry about that too much right now. When you free fall over 1,000 blocks in the sky and land inside your sleeping bag. Wow. Hey, Riff. So much smaller. So much tidier. Oh, it's lovely. Vibing with the song? Oh? Good to know. Okay. So this is basically all the stuff that we need, except it's for a world generator, not a structure generator. So then we need to actually, like, figure out where world generators come into this whole process. Okay, don't need map gen scattered features. Structure whale debris is the main thing we need here, yes. We can close whale flesh, whale blocks, and the whale itself for the moment, and I'll also close out of the hive stuff for the moment as well. Okay. So, given all of this stuff, how do we convert this to function for essentially what the fossils are doing? Let's try and place, like, one fossil here. We know the witch hut doesn't exist as a doesn't actually exist as a structure, which is bizarre, but oh well. And here is our thing for this. So, we need to figure out from our primer, can spawn, get structure, get nearest structure start. Let's see, what do you call? You call generate. Okay. Which is part of map gen base. Okay. Now, we don't really have anything like that in here. As near as I can tell. Yeah. Actually, if it's generate random block position, we might be able to just override it. X and Z, I think, are the chunk coordinates. Might be. A lot of royalty-free music just reminds me of when you used to watch Sliver IO compilations or Exploding TNT. I don't understand that reference, but I can definitely relate to that mood. Okay, we don't need most of this, I think. Until it tells me I need it. Okay, so there's generate structure in here. If we theoretically replace that, it's always irritating when Mojang, some many years ago, managed to make this harder than it needs to be by all of it. Okay, well, let's make this not yelling at me for the moment, shall we? And just have it say structure spine 01 instead of any reference to that I. Is template 1 even referenced here? Add blocks to world right there. Ah, very low integrity. That's why. That's what's going on there. Okay. Let's just set this to 1, 0, so it just always generates fully. And that appears to be fine. Okay, good. Right. So it's not in use yet, but we're working on it. So, our structure start has a function called generate structure. Keeps iterating structure pieces and spawning them until the checks tell it to stop. Okay. If we take this instead then, and just generates our actual structure, hopefully that should be fine. Hopefully. In before something goes horribly wrong. Predictably. Also weird that the fossils aren't a structure, yet they use a structure file. Very weird that. Anyways, so for that would just be world in random, and then we want to say a block position. Nothing goes wrong, are you even coding? Fair point. Fair point. Okay. So we don't need those. Well, actually, we kind of do need them. We don't need to
oh heck, it's Recibiversary. LOV Lungo and OMG is that Long Nyan.
Yes, this is in fact Long Yan. Who is currently in my office because they require some repairs to their tail. But yeah, thank you for that, Marsh. I'll lose them. Okay. Need to register these things. Let's call that debris. Whale Deb 1, as opposed to Whale Karen 1. Which, by the way, is really awkward for me because I completely recognize and agree with the whole, like, Karen as a name for, like, a very, very classic model of a white woman causing trouble and such. Like, privileged white woman, let's say. That's probably like the best description for it. But also my mother's name is Karen. So, whoops. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's just sort of unfortunate, really. Come on. There you go. Should get you a keyboard, shouldn't I? Okay. Analog species or 1 is not relevant here. Don't need that. Do need the starter. And okay. Right. So we'll add this to the chunk generator over there, and now we get to see what the heck happens when we generate a brand new whale dimension with this intact. Oh boy. Playing Overcrowd to commute him up? Ooh, neat. Good, I'm familiar with it. So our job today is to try and add structures into the interior of our procedurally generated whale stomachs. In theory, I can go in here and just teleport like 10,000 blocks in a direction. That should be fine. So TP. I genuinely cannot see the far left side of my monitor because of a fruit basket that I'm still working my way through for my birthday. And there was a problem. We have a crash, everybody. What happened? A problem with the recursive generate, apparently. And somehow the living swim event. So chunk generate a whale. Went through the map gen base. Generate. Recursive generate. Something interesting happened there, that's for sure. This doesn't appear to be. I guess we have to override generate structure rather than it's just structure start. I saw that happening. Oh boy. Heap. Okay, this is my life now, I guess. Okay. Keeps iterating structure pieces and spawning them until the checks tell it to stop. Okay, yes, let's try turning that off, essentially, for the moment. We only want to generate once. Milo really wants a long yan. Oh, I mean, you could get them. They're not hard to get. Okay, so now instead of doing it over and over and over, it should hopefully just do it once. They're really expensive? I mean, they are the bigger you get them. This, of course, was the max size long yan. But other nyans are available. Okay.
Cat insisting on participating as all cats do.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, yeah, still got some problems. Pride Shrug and Pride Hay, which appears to be in my colors. Okay, is that the same problem? Yeah, it is referencing whale debris. Okay, we know that. That's a good start. Null pointer. At the bounding box. Okay, right. Recursive generates, generate chunk, all of that. So why? Okay. So that means we have to update the bounding box to be reflective of the actual template that we're using here. Okay. I'll also bring that down here because this doesn't really need to do much of anything. Pride Shrug looks like it's gender fluid or non-binary. What's a gender shrug? Yeah, I guess. Okay, so we need to update the bounding box in order to actually make it seemingly not crash for the moment. Excuse me, do you mind? Yes, okay, just... You brought this upon yourself, okay? So when it's trying to write the bounding box, it's coming up with a null, so it's not actually able to receive two MBT tag int array. Okay. Where does update bounding box get called, if anywhere? Answer appears to be nowhere. but the component parts get added. Now, does that generally mean also updating the bounding box? Gonna presume yes. Okay. Components, bounding boxes, and saves it. Okay, yeah, I see the thing, and I also see another thing. Burra. So update bounding box. Yeah, it goes through all of the components. Get new? Makes a freaking massive one. Okay. Expand it. Okay, right. Let's just give that a shot for the moment. Because that might have solved the problem in a horrifyingly terrible fashion, but we won't know until we try it. Okay, still failed. But did it fail for the same reason, or a different one? Same exact reason. Okay, right. Access to structure. Okay. Don't know why they're specific, but sure, fine. Now that might just do the trick. This kind of just does this qualify as a constant, like, perpetual hug plush? Let me know. Trying to paint nails with non-dominant hand that is also shaking. I know that mood. Sometimes you wish certain things were anonymous is all. You and me both. Okay, can we load? Our first question. Seems like it. Okay, next question. Can we find wherever the heck the bone blocks and such ended up? I'm not seeing anything, which leads me to suspect they've been spawned at 0-0. See, chunk pass from the position. Yep, so that is the exact position it's going to be spawning at. So let's just have that out. And see if we can identify that they spawn in a particularly interesting location. Looking a lot more meaty in the whale? Yeah, definitely. It'd be very interesting to make it actually, like, breathe. Like, have the walls oscillate in and out. But, not 100% certain how I would do that without causing a lot of lag. Because I could just make a block that, like, has a boolean toggle in it, and then it goes out. And then it sets that value to true, and then it goes back in. But if I did that, it would be based on block updates, so it would do it as a random noise pattern. So in order to actually make it breathe in and out, I would need to actually probably manage it with a tile entity. Okay, you guys can get the whale view. And being 10,000 blocks out from where I started, I should be able to just fly in a slight direction. Load a new chunk. I'm going in the direction of positive X, so I'm going away. If I fly in this direction, we should eventually find our way to generating a new chunk. Should being the operative word. Lots of pistons. Ugh, imagine that. This feels like we're not actually generating anything, which is very entertaining as a concept. Yeah, I'm not getting any alerts that we're generating anything. Nothing at all. Okay, feels like we're generating nothing at all. So next question, why? Why are we not generating anything at all? Let's go to our scattered features again. What was it? World gen, structure, map gen? Yeah, map gen scattered features, there you are. Okay. So does this actually... Yeah, it updates that by checking that. Okay, so that's fine. We're okay with that. Also, this list of places is... Whee! Not grand. Infinite loop looking flights? I mean, more or less, yeah. The whole dimension is meant to be just one major thing that's just used in chunks at a point. The actual calculations are that you start at the 0, 0 coordinates, and then every successive stomach from a whale that you go into is like spiraling outwards. So you get the full usage of the place, which is not on the vertical. On the vertical would be interesting, but whereas with the random things spectral dimension, where you get the spectral box, which is only 16 by 16 by 16, compared to the twice that the whales get, you're just going in one huge line. One really huge line for the vast majority of things, which somewhat means that you don't end up with people loading, like chunk loading each other's stuff, as long as you have enough people in between, I guess. But feels like a waste of a dimension to me. Feels like there's a lot of space you could be using there. Am I excited for tomorrow? Tomorrow? As there's something involving eggs happening tomorrow? I could have sworn Easter was quite some time ago. But okay, so there's adding the components, right? And there's updating the bounding box. And one... the components are used for something else. Twitch shows uptime now? Yes, by default. So you can actually do that, just... I don't have to actually have a command for it. It's wonderful. Update bounding box checks its own thing. So I wonder if it's going through that and it's just finding nothing. That's possibly it. I don't really want to say anything with certainty here, because Lord knows that ain't gonna work out much. Okay, is that a... Yes, that is correctly overriding. Let's see what happens then. Now you can tell how much stream you've missed without asking or doing math. Oh boy. Still not seeing anything. That's very interesting. We know where ambergris spawns, so we should be seeing something here. Is there something I've somehow forgotten to do? Ooh. Oh dear, poor dragons. No, that should all be good. Okay, interesting. We're trying to see if this code is actually called ever, as our first step here. And then we can try and figure out why it's not building. Worst comes to worst, we can just create ourselves a singular component that's just randomly selecting a spine or whatever. But I want to make sure if we actually need to do that first. Because if I don't have to make another holder, then that's good. Also, at some point I need to find out what block entity is apparently being skipped there, because I see a bunch of them. Which shouldn't happen. Okay, there we go. We are seeing debris start, we're just not seeing debris actually get constructed. Okay. So I guess, at least for the time being, we'll make a component. Just for the time being, you know. So, component, scattered features, swamp hut can be our go-to for the slime for the time being. It's just a feature. Oh god, we're not going to be using that code though. Oh boy, no. So structure whale debris. Plug that class in here. Okay. So component whale ambergris pieces is itself more or less just a single thing. It just defines an ore, and that ore procedurally generates itself. So something very similar to that is going to happen here, except instead of generating stuff, we're just going to actually call in a structure. Okay, I need you to move. Will you move for me, please? Long. How can one cat be so heavy? Can't believe Long is dead. Oh no, they're very alive. I can tell you that much. Just not really Not remotely caring. Yeah, come on, that's my keyboard now. Come on. Okay, I'll be back in like 10 minutes, everybody. If I can presumably actually reach the... Catch you then. Welcome back, everybody, to more building blocks, and I discovered something that's kind of irritating, but oh well. So if we go back to component scattered features, which is where all of this code exists for swamp huts and jungle pyramids and such, where it just manufactures them, block by block, hard coding, in the most horrific form imaginable. But all of that happens, and it does that for basically every structure here. The desert pyramids, the jungle pyramids, the swamp huts. Do you know what it doesn't do it for, though? Igloos. Igloos actually use structures. So I've just been going through all of this, checking out all of this stuff that's just like built by the most horrific demon imaginable. And in fact, igloos buried inside of this code do exactly what we need to do. So I borrowed a bunch for that. So our components, our like scattered pieces, our whale debris one now should use this structure. Had to modify slightly because the igloos have like two forms that they occasionally use, and they have to make sure everything's handled between them, like removing a ladder, for instance. But in theory, this should now work. He did say, in theory. We'll see exactly what happens there. We also do need to call our registration. So if we go back to, let's see, ambergris pieces. Has a register. Let's see where that gets called. Apparently nowhere, which is interesting, but okay. Where's the scattered features call it then? Mapgen structure IO. Interesting. It's probably fine for the moment anyways. So if we boot this, we should hopefully start to see fossils turning up. If we made a new feature, we won't use it ourselves. More or less. Nobody at Mojang ever updates old code. Pretty much. Which reminds me, I watched a video of a game that's been in development for like 4 years now. Like, it was being coded before Unity had its own Pathfinder. Dear God, I've just spotted Long Long Yan in the camera there. That's terrifying. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so it's been in development since before Unity had its own Pathfinder, so it made its own Pathfinder. And the way Unity runs, everything is run every single tick, every single frame. But then Unity actually added a Pathfinder, so you'd think that they would have like changed over to use that Pathfinder because it was really buttery smooth and beautiful, built specifically for the engine. Nope, still using it. Still using the old stuff. Okay, what happened here? Structure... missing mapping. Okay, right. It actually does care then. So we need to find out... I know we've seen ambergris. I'm surprised we haven't, like... seen that get called. Let's find out. So structure whale ambergris calls... Mapgen, it calls register structure components. Does that actually register it? I guess we're not currently, are we? Alright, that should hopefully mean that it's actually functioning now. So I didn't know what the thing was, so I couldn't actually reference it, look it up. Phew. Take the fact of a Neopet animated series in? Oh, are they seriously making a Neopets animated series? I'll be honest, I remember precious little about Neopets. But the reason I think Burr is bringing it up is it's because it's the origin of my name. It's the origin of lying in bed mon. Way back when. I was signing up for Neopets, and I came up with the name Lying in Bedmon. Let's see if we can't get there this time. Bring it up because it's part of both our childhoods. Also fair. Okay, we're not seeing anything here just yet. Oh, hello. Yep, there we go. Okay. Oh, and we even have rotation going already by the looks of things. Yep, rotation definitely seems to be functioning. Okay, so now we need to actually offset the position so that it's actually inside of here. Which is certainly doable, but hey, good start. We actually have a structure now. Fall of 2021. I mean, it probably got delayed, I'm gonna say. There's a new realm on your one? Yes, Tanif, this is the whale dimension. This is where all of the stomach's interior of the whales are stored. If you interact with a whale in the correct fashion, you can transport yourself to its stomach in this dimension, and back again. It's basically like a spectral box, except that it's not tied to you, it's tied to an entity, a mob. Okay, so we've got that working, that's fine. So the next thing, we ideally want to have an actual array of stuff here, we don't just want to be having debris 1. So, in theory, what we need to actually create is some kind of a listing. So let's check how many, like, forms of spine of the fossils there are. Let's see, what was it? Fossil? Structure gen? Structure fossil? No? Wilt gen fossil? There you are. Okay, so there's a ton of these. There's like 8 of them. So let's try changing up. Don't need that open. Do need that. Don't need that. Shouldn't need that ever again, hopefully. So Moby Dick. Moby Dick meets Pinocchio, more specifically, I guess. Can you share the link to the article talking about the Neopets series? Sure. Let me just permit. There you go. Okay. So over here we need an actual array of pieces, and ideally we probably also want to have this be set up in a fashion that we can just give it a give it like a name, a resource location, and it'll just be fine. How do we do that is the next question. Cake and Lemonade? You still have a Neopets account, just can't get into it because you've got the birth date used. Wow, you lied about your birth date to register for Neopets. Wow. Imagine that. Where's your... Ah, okay, see? Okay. There. Okay.
Just want to go back.
Okay, and then we need this to actually give us a resource location. The alternative is that I just need to actually have this take in one when it's doing that and just have it called that otherwise. That might work better. To raise 1 to 4 would also be decently okay, I guess. Because I think it's actually generating that every single time it goes through, so just having an archive of them won't necessarily work. Yeah, it's just generating them, so... Get component, I guess? Get feature? What are the values used here? Random, int and int. I'm making a right mess of this right now, aren't I? Okay. So down here, we just give a resource location. Here we say the default phrase is just that. Rename that to the structure. Would let me, fair enough, okay. What is your problem? Because you didn't have this problem before. Why are we suddenly having so many problems here? Cannot be result of type. Only abstract or local is allowed? No, didn't have any problem with that before. Abstract static class. Right there, no problem. So why do you have a problem with me now? Have I missed something somewhere? Have I missed like a semicolon somewhere? That could be it. There. Okay, right. So now we can actually give it something and it'll actually go through and make the stuff. Good. So, next... I know there's 4 fossil pieces and skull pieces, so let's just actually make case 0, case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we only have the one actual thing, but we can use a random to actually get it. Like, get a random 1. So for that, component, whale, debris, pieces, dot feature. Do I not have a get feature? Apparently I don't. I also don't actually need to store it, so that's not a problem really. So get feature, random, next int 8. Chunk x times 16 and chunk z times 16. And that should all be good, so okay. So it just picks a random 1. It should only need to register the 1 because we got it just having its own initializer is different. Okay. Alright. This won't fix everything just yet. But we'll see exactly how well this goes. So what we're looking for right now is just different structures. Different bones. And then we just need to shovel them around, and then hopefully we'll be able to make sure that they actually look nice. So currently all they have is rotation. And face in the right direction. Yes, pull direct's good. Okay, yep, there's another one. Grand, okay, we clearly have different structures. Great. Yep, beautiful. Right, so now we need to move them in the positive X and Z direction. Now there is nothing here that moves these around, but we can manage that. Let's start just by trying to center them, I guess. 83,000 yips. Oh, that's a lot of yips. Is long yan soft? Yes. Very squishy. Very squishy. I mean, have you seen them? They're basically a marshmallow. Okay, so if we go forwards, we shouldn't have any major issues. Keep an eye. Oh, yep, there's cascading lag. Seeing that. But if we keep going forwards, we should stop seeing them outside. But we are seeing them inside. Very good. Sehr gut, sehr gut. Now, that is causing lag. You should note, it is causing cascading will gen lag. Which is not a huge thing, really. But we should try to avoid that. And that is because, we're gonna F, G, and G, I think it is, yeah. These are the borders, and we need to change this up so that these actually spawn ideally closest to the chunk edge as they can. Now, some will genning, what's causing cascading will gen? Basically, it's when you generate a chunk, but then what generates inside of the chunk requests other chunks next door to also be generated because they're trying to put stuff there. So, let's see if I can find an example of it around here. Just a little easier when you're actually able to see all the way through here. Yeah, so here's a decent example. So this skull is probably most originally spawned inside of this chunk here, but it's also pushing out into this chunk, which causes this entire chunk needs to then be generated. So that is cascading will gen, and if it doesn't stop, then your entire server can hang and just crash, essentially. So it's good to avoid. I don't think it's a problem here, just because we know it'll stop. There's nothing in these things that should generate additional world gem, but if people start messing with stuff, it's a problem. It's a problem then. So we need to try and make it that this is only actually going to generate in a given chunk, not like all of them. The trouble with that we have then, of course, is that we need to make sure that our structures only spawn ideally in the interior. We can try doing that by just adding 8 rather than 16, which will probably solve it for the most part. We will have to reboot just to actually have that take effect, though. But yeah, that's what cascading will gen means, and it is something you need to worry about. A little bit. But hey, we got that working. So now we do have a variety, and we don't even need to create a separate class every single time. We just need to add to the case. That's good. Okay, so once again, I'll keep an eye on the console, and you guys get to see where everything's going. Okay, so just heading straight forwards and seeing... Yeah, We are seeing some cascading world gen. Once again. Not nearly as prevalent, so that's progress. Yeah, that's still causing that problem. Okay, right. What I can try doing is shifting around the coordinates of where it's going to place it based upon its actual, like, bounding box. There's an idea. Also seeing a bunch of missing pieces here, which is not necessarily going to be good for us. But I think that might just be old world gen, because we no longer have Tude 1, we now just have Tude. Yeah, we definitely need to try and make sure these only actually stay inside of their own chunks. Else stuff like that is liable to happen. And also, additional note of warning for this is that if that happens, that happens. Now, if you've ever played with random things, you know about these spectral boxes, and these spectral boxes are built out of indestructible blocks, which is also what bedrock is supposed to be. But things can accidentally remove it. So a notorious example of this is the dark oak, like 2x2 trees, which causes it generates a degree of a structure around it. It's not like a full structure, but it's a structure nonetheless, which includes roots going downwards as well as podzol. And if you do that on the top of the Nether, at least until fairly recently, I think, it might still work, I'm not 100%, you can remove bedrock, and that allows you to access the Nether ceiling. Similar thing is happening here, but we don't want people to be able to conjoin stomachs, ever. That should never happen. But because this bone block replaced this piece of bedrock, you could theoretically get to here by just cutting through the whale's stomach and then into purling, for instance, straight up. Why are they in the air? Because we are not currently accounting for the verticality here. They're just always spawning at the same altitude. But okay, right. So, we need to rotate them and then offset where we need to offset our position by that rather than just this static value. Okay. So there should be a size. There you are. Okay, right. So pos equals pos.add. Just see how that goes. Hopefully that is actually reflective of its rotation. Where are the settings? There's the settings. Okay. Apparently not. It couldn't possibly be. So we have our rotation, so we should be able to figure out how far we need to move this thing. Plague Doctor request for hugging Plague Doctor Frond? Okie doke. Plague? Bring out your dad. Or I guess, bring out your dad. Yeah, in the exact same, like, vocal tone, I guess, as the drugs owl. Yeah, they are very baby. Quite cute. Okay, yeah, okay, right. Is there anything we can use this for? There's add, rotate, yeah, Okay, we can probably just run a switch onto that then. No? Is rotation actually not like its own thing? Wait, no, it is, it's just that we're referencing it. Okay, yeah, I'm being a fool is what's happening there. Why does it import that exactly? What I'll do is modify position based on the rotation we've selected. There we go. Okay, so if it's 180, let's just try seeing how it generates if we set that to none. Just by default here. Like where does it generate if we just do that? What chair do I have? It's a GT Omega. It's also wearing out tremendously, and I probably need to, like, get a new one. Fuzz has one, but it's in fabric, whereas mine is in pleather. Yeah, night Misty. Hope the cetacean situation goes swimmingly. I'm presuming it's that way. Like, I presume it's down the line that we're going, more or less, but let's find out. So we're looking for positive X, yep. East. Also, fun fact, no matter where your whale is, the whale's stomach is always classed as being inside of deep ocean. Something Cascade? Eh, doesn't seem like it. Okay. Okay. Is that... That's facing south, I think. But okay, that's good. Because this is also... The portals are also placed at chunk boundaries. Okay. Reupholstering a pleather chair costs almost as much as buying new. It's awful. Yeah, I probably would be better off just getting fabric, honestly. Okay. So, if that's no, then clockwise 90 and clockwise 180 plus counterclockwise 90 we can determine. Because clockwise 90 would be that way, for instance. Negative X. I swear I've done this before at some point. Let's find out. Let's see, there's the conveyors, movable rods, not very well before. Okay, well, let's say clockwise 180. And we need to actually have our template in order to apply this. Because we're going to do the size. Wait, hang on, was that... Transformed size. Oh, that's actually going to save us a bunch of trouble, I think. This, I presume, is it actually rotated. 90, kind of, yeah, okay, grand. doesn't quite account for clockwise 180, but essentially we're trying to make it so that it's always actually in there, rather than anything else. Trying to make sure it's always nestled into the actual corner. Okay, so get rid of that. And let's see how that goes. Once we can make sure it's actually nestled into the corner, we can also use that rotated size to determine the limits of how much we can move it around. And then we just need to make it actually be flat. Use an external hard drive as a weight to press major wrinkles out of fabric. Okay, so we want to be going positive X direction. Leap. Okay, so that's fine. The goal here is that we fly forwards and we never see another piece of bone coming out. Because if we see a piece of bone sticking out, then we know something's gone wrong. And we shouldn't ever... No, we are still seeing a little bit of world gen lag. Okay. I wonder what caused that then. Doesn't see anything here. I should need some pretty big blocks to... Ah, there we are. Interesting that that spawned there. That's the first time we've seen it doing that. Oh, that is big. Yeah, I can see why that might have caused it. Oh. Okay, so that might mean we have the directions wrong? Oh, I think I know. I might know. Not 100%. Tell us to keep their bones in their stomach. I mean, these presumably aren't their bones. Which is about as comforting as somebody handing you a blood-stained shirt and them saying, "Oh, don't worry, it's not my blood." But still. Okay. So what's causing that, I wonder? Listen to the Magnus Archives? Oh, I've heard tell of that. Yeah, it's... Yeah, we're definitely seeing not nearly as much cascading world gen as we had before, but we are still seeing cascading world gen. So we do need to fix that up. Now, I would have thought transformed size would be accurate. But it actually does seem to be semi-worthless. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to need to crack open Excel to figure this out. because I can picture it actually conveying that to code. It's not necessarily the easiest things in the world. Okay, so we more or less only care about X and Z, so that's fairly straightforward. X is north and south, Z... Actually, is X north and south, or is that east and west? Oh lordy. Heck if I remember. You'd think it'd be easier here. X, Y, and Z, okay. Coordinates. Okay, Z is north and south, gotcha. Wish you could stick a banner on a golem? Oh, to what purpose? It's an interesting concept. Okay. So, if we rotate clockwise 90 degrees that way, then our X becomes our Z, and our Z becomes our X, so we need to add size X to the Z and Z. Okay. If we do it the other way, we need to negative it. I think. Tell by the different groups so you can track them without having to rename them all. Yeah, I mean, I guess. A herald. Long Yan is being really adorable. Aww. Okay, and then if it's 180, then yeah, we just negate that. Okay. I think. Or do we just add it? Hi, this is gonna be a pain in the neck, I'm sure. Also, to disguise them as big people's Griant related. Griant? Like the YouTuber? Oh, giants. Gotcha. Right. I am convinced that this is not going to work, but let's find out, shall we? If anything, I've probably just broken this even more. Oops. Or who gets the boops exactly? Okay, that looks okay so far. There is a little bit of lag, but that might just be because they're really friggin' mixed up. Who knows? Also, I really need to say that the meat blocks are actually full things now. Yeah, which... If that's clockwise 90, we add it on the Z. Which might actually not be necessary. I think. I'm not really sure. Hey, this is a pain. Okay, hang on. We can figure this out. Okay, so they're spawning at... That's the position currently. Okay. So let's grab ourselves one of the structure names that we have. Might as well try and make it one of the biggest ones we have. Okay. So that's that with 0 rotation. That's none. If we said 90, then that looks good as well. Turn off that so we can see a bit better. Okay, if it does that, then we need to... Yeah, we need to subtract the red. Nope, we need to add the red. Okay. Red being the x-axis, is that? Yeah. Okay. So if it's rotation 90, we need to add the x. And then the Z looked fine. Let's have a quick check again. Yeah, the Z looks fine. If it ends up there, then that's perfectly fine. Don't need to worry about it. Okay. So I'll just change that to 0 for the moment. And then, if we go to counterclockwise 90, which is 270, we need to add the Z. Is that positives? Yeah, to add the Z. And if it's then 180, we need to add both. Is that both? Yes, we need to add both. Okay. Right. That should hopefully be good. Hopefully. In before it breaks again. I also need to remember to actually make ambergris blocks, because currently they are just stained glass. I mean, I feel like a boop reward for the yips is just like akin to the hug plushie. So. Which, no, what are you going to do with that horn? Okay, can we get this to work right before I go to brick? Let's find out. Let's see what I'm going to Plastimex. But let's just really make this easy on ourselves. Teleport 1,000 pucks. Not seeing any records there of cascading. That's good. So we should always see them on our... Oh, hello. Ooh, that's not good. Hmm. Yeah, it's still... It's not it's not telling me that it's actually cascading, which is weird. Because that is definitely generating into different chunks. Quite obviously. Hey, Mimo. I'm just about to get a break, by the way, so catch you all in about 10 minutes and we'll continue trying to stab this out. Welcome back everybody to the final hour of our stream tonight. So, just to give ourselves a little bit more diagnostic, I have ensured that the only part of a chunk that will generate will actually be the flesh part, the container itself, which is also where the caves are, and such, so it should be good. The actual, like, bedrock and such around it should not generate at all, so we should be able to see a bit clearer where all of these things are, and from there, hopefully figure out exactly where our problem is arising. So, just before we left off there, we added this little bit of rotation code that should hopefully, evidently not quite perfectly, spawn things rotated and such that they always are in that back left corner from the perspective where we've been traveling. From there, we can probably do with actually making structure well debris, make sure it only spawns inside of the right places. So, what we need to be looking for in that case, let's see, ambergris should ostensibly be the same thing, but what we're looking for is value 0 here, which is get chunk type. So if we just ask that inside of our structure whale debris, then we should be able to just make sure everything works nicely. So that equals that. Good. That should mean that it only spawns inside the container. It might spawn multiple times in one container. We're okay with that, as long as it's one per chunk, more or less. Fixing my... Where? What is that emote? I don't recognize that. Oh, the mistake. Yeah. Sure, yes. Had to pull a door frame out and knock a piece of wall out today. Wow. Congrats. Came back after the break ended. I mean, is that not okay, or did I miss something? Yeah, Mimo, if you try to, like, post a link without the appropriate permission, then you will get timed out. That's just sort of a thing we had to deal with here. We have a bunch of people come by every now and then that just, like, try to shill or link to terrible things, so we generally try to control that. Just sort of things you have to be, just sort of things you have to deal with, I guess. Okay. So, flying through the whale dimension now, we should actually be able to see the exact area occupied by these different shapes as they are generated. We could theoretically simplify things by making it just the one, so it know it's reliable, that kind of thing, but right now we're just gonna try and go that. So TP, blip, 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 blip. Should get me to a brand new section. Okay, good. So yeah, now we're seeing that there are multiples of these, but they should never go past these sections. We should never see them in the beyond. This is okay. I kind of should have guessed this, but this looks horrific. Oh. Okay, here we go. Definitely got a problem there. So it's got tribbles. It does seem to work mostly reliably, at the very least. It's weird that it's offset into places that should. Is that really underneath? Oh no, that's ambergris underneath. Ah, that explains where that's been going. Yeah, it does seem to be mostly, at the very least, aligning to the wall, which is what we want it to be doing. But clearly it's not quite getting there. So what's going on there? Well, still looks like a David Lynch sculpture. Yeah, you can look right through them. Just straight from one to the next. God, imagine if I swapped the bedrock exterior for, like, barriers or some such. Oof. I won't, because this is meant to be, like, inside, and having you be able to see would be weird. Okay, let's go back and try and make sure these are only the one. So let's limit this for the time being to being just, like, spine 4. that way we can actually have consistency. We know they're all going to be the exact same one, so we should be able to see just the one we want. Also, yeah, this is really freaking creepy. Wow. Painted your house because it was full of what we call Nico green. It was the old landlord green paint, and the previous owner was a heavy smoker. So, oh dear. Yeah, I can imagine that going badly. I don't even remember what these rules look like when we got here. Honestly. I know we tore it all down. I don't remember what they looked like. I do know that the previous tenants, at the very least at some point, had tried to paint various parts of the house here, but they hadn't moved any of the furniture, so you could see exactly where, like, the bed frame was. Very strange. Look at that. They did that in basically every room around here. They also did not do a very good job of painting the parts that they actually painted. Let's go. Okay, so we have only the one type of structure now, so we should be able to tell a bit better exactly what's going on. Then they also try to do their own wiring. That would be putting it a little bit, boldly, let's say. Okay, so anywhere where this ribcage extends beyond the actual space is somewhere that we can have a problem with. No, it doesn't help that I've picked one that actually doesn't have a distinct front, so I don't necessarily know which rotation it'll be that has this problem. Looks, by the looks of that, it might be the 180. Because if we got them less side by side like that, the only one that moves like this could be the 180. I presume this does reach the edge? No. I'm even more confused because these aren't being offset at last I checked. Structure bounds, yes, that's fine. Yeah, it should be all good. Interesting. Oh, I do see something that might be relevant. So this 7, 5, and 8 that's happening right there, that is the structure size. So if we change that out and swap that for checking the template and seeing what that does, then it might actually have a better idea of how it's rotating. That might be what's happening here. Is it's rotating, but it's rotating the wrong thing. Or by the wrong size, as it were. It's probably relevant. You don't like how the bone blocks don't join properly with other bone blocks? Yeah, they don't. They're rotational, but they don't have any like additional block states. It's not great, but oh well. Okay, so the manager. But we don't have a world in, so we couldn't know, really. Component? Yeah, there you are. Igloo. So that's just 7, 5, and 8. Just by writ. Whereas these fossils are all sorts of different sizes. You would think that these would actually have What if? Placement settings currently set it from the structure bounds. What if we don't do that? Will that make it more reliable? Let's find out. If we just made it instead be by the template, by the structure file that we're actually trying to use, maybe that'll work better. should never hook circuits directly up to the mains, ever. I mean, one hopes. Yeah, we just need to get this one thing fixed, more or less, and then we should be able to just settle up where the average was. Could we get the story of my house's wiring sitch? This one? Or anything else? This one, okay, the current Fox Den. Yeah, that does look like there's only one that's doing that. I do wonder how it's managing to end up offset like that, though. Okay, so yeah, we got the Fox Den, the current Fox Den, and it was fine. It had a lot of work to be done, but it was fine. And the major thing that we had with it was mostly that there was a bunch of stuff left over, that everything had been kind of messed up a whole ton. So we had to do a bunch of redecorating, ripping things out and putting things back, that sort of thing. In the process of that, we found various things, like how they had painted over parts of the walls, but not the entirety of the walls, and not even completely. And they had definitely, like, my dad is a qualified electrician. He has been for many, many years. And the first thing he found out when he started looking is that quite a lot of the place was not necessarily... that might be it right there, I wonder. Because it's always got one point. But that wouldn't explain that being 2. I really should have picked something that was a bit more directional here, shouldn't I? Okay, so yeah, he goes through and he finds various things have been wired up in horrifying ways, if indeed they've been properly done in the first place, such that it was kind of a miracle the place hadn't like lit on fire. And it's more or less about all you need to know, really. Now, 90 and 80 are the only ones that extend backwards. So it must logically be part of the offset with the 90 and the 80 here. Now, I'm going to say it's the clockwise 90 and the clockwise 180. Did I miss a break in here, by the way? No, no breaks missed. Okay, good. If I load up 3... is that going to be a bit better for directions? Does it have a clear front and back? No, it does not. How about 2? I wouldn't know. God, we're at 18,000x now. Ooh. Yeah, these appear to be completely symmetrical. That's not too helpful to us, is it? How about skulls? Skulls have a definite front and back. Okay, let's try using those. That'll at least help us to know exactly which way these are facing. So facing 0, we have that kind of like A shape at the front. Now we know. Should have done that a while ago, but don't worry about it. So yeah, basically one of the first things that we did here was rewire a lot of stuff. We still have a lot of stuff outstanding to rewire, but at least it's unwired in a manner that's not dangerous. But we had to add like a whole ton of sockets anyways, so it wasn't that big of a problem. We were going to have to deal with the wiring eventually. I think we had the fuse box tidied up just before the lockdown hit. And like, there's a whole ton of wiring that still needs doing. So, for instance, the most obvious example of that is the kitchen, because the kitchen needs renovating. Okay, fare thee well, significant floating head. Okay. So that is offset position. I wonder... It seems like it moves, it's the size -1. So I wonder if we just, like, do that. Maybe it'll fix itself. Obviously not in this iteration, but, you know. Is there not in here? Oh, right, I'm not in spectator mode. But okay, right. So keeping an eye to see if it leaves the boundaries again. This one is obviously much smaller, so it's less liable to do so. That's definitely promising. So that means the 90 degree, that means turn 90 is fine. Just about, except for the slight change, which I think, yeah, that might be due to... Yeah, that looks all good. Right. I mean, it might be worth just having code that reaffirms the integrity. So even if something does try to generate past the walls, it doesn't actually go much further than that. Like, it still gets blocked back off. Which we can do. That is a thing that we can do. But, let's see if we reallow the other ones here, if it will go back to doing that or not. Oh. Yeah, one thing I am noticing is that every time I load up a world, I get a whole list of like skipped block entity with ID blank, which is something I need to chase up and figure out. We didn't get any, or at least I didn't spot any records of cascading world gen. So that's positive. Am I still facing the right way? Negative X. Nope, let's go this way this time. Okay. See, this is the theoretical ideal. We want to be seeing points intersecting there and there. But going no further. Like right there. How have you done that? Like, really, how have you done that? Is that enough? Now that's north, so you've... How have you even rotated to do that? Let's find out, shall we? Let's see, that's spine free, I think? Oh no, that might be spine 2. Or spine 1 maybe, even. Oh yeah, well, that looks like spine 1 to me. Okay. That more or less only makes sense if it... Is it just this one as well? Like, the really huge ones haven't done anything like that. Let's see if we can't find another one like that. See if it's only that one that does it. Oh, hello. It is not. Drat. I was hoping that'd be a single. I thought that would be a single case. Okay. Well, butts. What could be causing that? It's like we haven't accounted for one or something. But we've got 0, 90, 180, 270, so we should have all the rotations. Okay then. And once again, since it's having the spines, I can't actually identify very easily if it's... Let's see. Let me do that. Okay, that looks like it's the 90-degree turn. Or at least that's the one that's most likely to be. In which case that is clockwise 90. So we're adding... Oh, we're not adding the transformed X. Could that be it? That might be it, okay. That didn't seem to help before, but, we didn't seem to have a problem with counterclockwise, so let's just leave that as is for the time being. How big of a rock are we talking, Marsh? Like, Discord is giving away a rock. How big of a rock? And what is the, like, historical, if any, significance of said rock? $2 million followers written on it in gold pen. Like, the word, the phrase 2M followers, or like, there are 2 million names on it. The phrase. Okay. That's... I mean, I guess nothing's... No one ever said... No one ever said that it's... There was nothing in the rulebook that said you couldn't do that, I guess. Okay, well now it seems to be fixed. So if we just fly forwards, we shouldn't see anything poking out here. Ever. Hopefully. He said with increasing uncertainty. Oh. Something went wrong there. Which direction are you then? You appear to be... That appears to be clockwise 90. Clockwise 90. How have you managed that, then? Because you're the one we didn't rotate the size on, probably, I think. I know that'd be counterclockwise. Ugh! Here. We are currently trying to generate structures in such a fashion that no matter their rotation, they are always contained entirely inside of these cubes. of meat. These cubes of whale meat, to be exact. We keep finding cases where that is not the case. I mean, are you using fossils from vanilla as a test case? Yeah, there's the same one, I think. Okay. Let's add the transform code to counterclockwise and see if that resolves this. But yeah, we don't ever want players to be able to, in survival at the very least, escape these stomachs into the main space of the dimension, because we don't want people connecting different stomachs together. That's why they're usually layered in obsidian. Well, they're layered in border, which is itself indestructible, and then obsidian. Just to sort of like drill home the point of, you should not be able to get out here. Obviously, I can't really stop people after a certain point, especially in modded. It's gonna be all manner of things that can get you to places you're not really necessarily supposed to go, but yeah. Bedrock, not obsidian? Yeah. Okay. So we're just looking, trying to make sure nothing pokes out, especially around here, basically. That's all that we're looking for. If we resolve that, then we can determine how much space we've got left inside the chunk, and then we can shovel that about. And then from there we can determine what the average Y level is and sink it down. It's looking good so far. Not seeing anything. No, okay. Yeah, I believe we may indeed have cracked it. Alright, yes, by now we would definitely have spotted something, so I think we can indeed call that particular bug squashed. Okay. So, next up is to make these actually be Y compliant, so they're not just like there, as well as we shuffle around a bit as much as we can. So, how much do we work this out? Space X, space Y, space Z. That should be more or less what is necessary there. Alright, yes. Didn't switch back to code. Sorry, guys. Currently just trying to determine offsets, so position equals position.add. Random in.next int bound to room X, 0, and then the same again for the Z. And that should hopefully mean that we can shuffle these fossils around inside of the chunk space without actually barging them into anything else. Should being the operative word here. I'm gonna leave that there for the moment. I don't think that's gonna cause any trouble. This is the original set bounding box according to the structure. I don't think that'll be any trouble, but I've just gotten this working, so I'd rather not break it if I can. Okay. So let's see if we manage to move that around without causing cascading world gen. Usually go to your siblings' flat for a stitch and hitch, but Blake, yeah. Blake? Oh no, you said their secret word. And summoned them. Okay. Plague? Okay. So we should see these fossils moving around a lot, but still, ideally, not breaching into other chunks. Like, especially they're right here, for instance. We shouldn't see them move. We should see them moving around, but not anywhere else. Good. So there's 4 of them. They should all be in distinct chunks. And that is looking pretty good. I'll check the log just to quickly see if there's any cascading world gen. Not seeing any reference to it. So I think we are good. Okay. Next step. Making the Y be accurate. And also, I guess ideally trying to put these as close to the middle as we can. That's probably like a good idea. That's along the Z, isn't it? Yes, that's along the Z axis. So I'll probably just actually make it shift them according to what the room Z space is. Which should try to place them along the middle as much. Okay, so now when we actually shuffle it about, we move it by the entirety of room Z, which we then subtract from up to half of it. So it always is towards the middle. It's not actually. It'll never be like towards the outer edge, hopefully. Right. So yeah, then we need to figure out the Y, because currently they're just spawning in at level 64, which is not what we want. We want them to actually be moving. Oh, structure bounds. There we go. Yep. Oop. Long Yan hugging plague doctor. That's an unusual request, but I guess I'll honor that. I don't know if the Long Yan has quite the reach there, but there we go. Okay, so now when we fly through, we should just see these tend to be aligned in the middle, or close to it at the very least. Stubby little paws. They're not stubby. They're just like they're having a time already just trying to reach up to my desk. So yeah, we should be able to see these a bit more frequently now. Do evidently have some. It works on one side but not the other, and I know why that is. It's because directions to the middle is not necessarily the same. So to fix that up, we need to apply a little bit more code. Oh, and we do have some cascade. Well, we have a fair bit of cascading gen lag. Oh, that's not good. I apparently opened 2 plants. Oh, what's to do? I mean, cascading wheel gen lag shouldn't be too big a problem here because you're only opening it every time you go into a whale. So. So let's see. We need to get chunk position. Can I just ask? It's not chunk generator wheel, is it? Wheel gen provider, I think. Wheel provider whale. Chunk type. Yeah, get preserved modifier. Okay. If we use that, then we should be able to identify what side of the Z we are. So if it's 0, we want to go positive. If it's not, we go the other way, essentially. Don't think I need this open anymore. Is that just part of build provider VO? But it's a static, so I can use it anyways. And that would be the X position from the structure bounds. Over 16, modulo 3. Okay. Hopefully that fixes that quite happily. Sibling has the fabric and yarn, the machine you must contend with ripkit. Yeah, I'm as desiring as most people, I imagine, to get stuff back open. To get like boys. If I can get boys open, I can work on Carol's hat more, that kind of thing. But I ain't gonna go to like Primark for some new duds at the potential expense of my or anybody else's health. So I'm willing to wait. Life in lockdown is a hassle, but it's not suffering or death. So, I'm good. Couldn't you online order yellow felt? I could try, but I don't necessarily have an idea of what the quality would be like. Okay, yeah, there is still quite a bit of cascading wheel gen lag. I'm seeing. Is this actually the Z-axis? Yes. Okay, good. Should be seeing less along... Actually, theoretically, we shouldn't be seeing any along there. There's a fort. So yeah, evidently I've got some stuff to figure out with regards to... the X. Because there's a lot of wheel gen lag. And clearly that's not working out quite fine, because we're still seeing them whacked right up the edge. Whereas what we want them to be doing is actually be settling in the middle a bit more. Let's see, chin position. Well, let's see if we can get them smashed into the middle, just like without any randomness at all. No, Hobbycraft goes and does delivery. I mean, it might well. It may well do. Just I've kind of had a lot of stuff to think about. And plus, every single thing I order is potentially another point of contact. Not necessarily a huge problem. Like, if I was worried about that, I would definitely be ordering a lot less takeaway. even with curbside delivery, but every single person that has to work during lockdown is a potential hazard, essentially. Hey, roll on universal basic income. For the love of God, please. We should have had this decades ago. Okay, so that's right in the middle. That's right in the middle. Good. Not quite so good, but also good there. Seeing a lot of cascading world gen lag. Which might actually be in the case of this. I believe these do have a bit of space around them. Let's have a look. What is it? Fossils, fossil underscore spine underscore 03. Ah, fossils, fossil, that's why. No, they don't, actually. Interesting. I wonder what's causing that, then. And also, why? Some skulls, but not others. That does, at least for the most part, appear to be functioning properly. In theory, if we make a big enough thing, like say, maybe this whale swallowed a particularly large ship, such that it maxes out the structural limitations of 16 by 16, we want that to be pretty much just dead centered and doesn't matter where you rotate it. This looks hopeful at least. There are definitely parts that don't seem to be working. I'm not 100% certain what's causing that. Still, we have made progress. Somewhat horrific progress, but progress, everybody. That's basically all I got for today. Yeah, like that should be shunted this way. And that part clearly was, so I don't know why that one isn't. All the answer to that theoretically is orientation, I guess. There's definitely some teething problems, I guess. But we're getting there. We have structures, we can therefore replace these fossils with whatever we like, and that will probably be our job next week. We're going to be trying to actually, like, get some structures together, designed and whatnot. And other than that, my next stream is tomorrow at 7 PM BST. We have some Dungeons and Dragon hats with a brand new campaign from a brand new Dungeon Master, not me. And I'm going to be playing Drone, who is a tiefling warlock sorcerer in heavily inspired by xenomorphs from Aliens. So tune in to see me hissing a lot, quite probably. And then on Thursday at 9 BST, we also have some more Monster Hunter World. And on Friday at 9, we have some more Bioshock, probably moving towards the end of that game at this point. And more D and Dragon Hats at 7 on Saturday, followed at 9 with Carousel playing some random games. And I'll be back for more of this on Tuesday at 9. Meanwhile, I do make videos at reddit.com/remote. One of them came out just today, and everything I do is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, everybody. I'm gonna go eat. Stay safe. Don't get the plague. Catch you next time.